Hi, I'm Nick, and as you can probably assume, this is a lot different from what we're used to, and there's a good reason for that. I've been thinking a lot about my channel lately, and I'm blown away by how it's doing. I know 169 subscribers sounds small as mess for most people, but for me, that's a hell of a lot of people that I get to entertain and make laugh. Like, I get fan art, for Christ's sakes.
Cardi, the line!
Like, it feels wonderful, but if you're like me, you may be getting bored with the classic Nick's Game Room format, which is where this video comes in. Now, obviously, I'm gonna keep making the classic videos a majority of my content. I love those videos, but it's always fun to mix it up sometimes, you know? So let's talk about the best games one of the best systems has to offer. Oh golly gee, the Nintendo Switch. What an amazing piece of technology. I remember when the thing was first announced. Remember when everyone was calling it the NX? That's a stupid name. It was crazy seeing a console that you could be playing on your big screen TV, then instantaneously get up and bring it with you to the bathroom when you have the sudden urge to shit. Like, it's a no-brainer. It's genius. And thankfully, it was a success with an amazing lineup of games and memories, some of which are my favorites of all time, and thus, I would love to bless thy eardrums with my opinions, which you might absolutely f***ing despise. But that's okay, as long as you aren't an ass about it. And if you are, f*** you. Your opinions suck too. Now, I'm not going to include every single game available on the Switch, otherwise there'd probably be like 5 actual exclusives. So I'm not going to include games like Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, Cuphead, Overwatch, shit like that, since you can play those things on literally any console you want. But they'd definitely be here otherwise. I'm also avoiding any ports or remasters, so nothing like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which would also probably make an appearance if the circumstances were different. Alright, enough rules. Let's get right to it. Also, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any game requests, list requests, or requests about any kind of video at all, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll see what I can do.
Number 10.
Now, if you're a Nick's Game Room veteran, then you should know I'm a massive Mario sports fan. I've done like 6 videos on them. Yeah, I count Mario Kart as a sport. Fight me, bitch. Yet, even though the Switch had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a month into its life, there was no brand new traditional Mario sports game for a hot minute until June 22nd, 2018 with Mario Tennis Aces. I remember the day it came out. Me and Jaden were on vacation with some of my family in Hilton Head Island when it dropped, and I played the heck out of it. As far as Mario sports games go, this game had a crazy campaign following Luigi getting possessed by, like, the Infinity Racket or something, and Mario traveling across the kingdom and playing many foes in the deadly and rightful way of solving problems. Tennis! Yeah! The gameplay is also extremely solid, with mostly responsive controls, and some brand new mechanics like being able to slow down time over the hedge style, and to break each other's rackets and end matches even sooner. But what really won this game over for me was the insane monthly content updates. For at least a solid year, a new character was dropped every month for absolutely free. The roster was already pretty good day one, with some really odd yet compelling picks like Spike and Chain Chomp, or Big Weld for my high school lunch table, but then they went ham and added everybody imaginable. Boom Boom, Pauline, Fire Piranha Plant, characters that have never ever been playable before, as well as some picks that have laid dormant since the Wii with like Sluggers and the Parties. This game is definitely not as good as Mario Super Sluggers, but it surely is a close second for my favorite Mario sports game. Really neat new gameplay mechanics, a crazy story mode, and an amazing roster thanks to great free DLC, meshed together real well to make what is by far the best Mario sport on the Switch. Take notes, strikers. This is why nobody likes you. God, what a freaking piece of garbage. Disappointing hunk of junk.
Number 9.
Now, for most people, they may consider this game to be the best the Switch has. Well, I'm not one of them, but that doesn't mean The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild isn't a goddamn masterpiece. I went into this game thinking I wasn't gonna like it. I've tried getting into Zelda before as a kid, but Link Between Worlds didn't hook me, and Majora's Mask, I'm sorry, I friggin' hated it. I had no clue what was going on, and I'm petrified to try it as an adult due to the constant stress of the looming clock ticking down your demise. Actually, that sounds like some funny content, maybe for a future video. Anyways, this was truly my first ever Zelda experience, and it was one hell of a journey. I don't know if the hardest part was fighting Calamity Ganon himself, avoiding the onslaught of Guardians, or finding a Switch day one to play the thing on, but I overcame the odds, and 18 stores later my mom drove me to the holy Best Buy, and I got my Switch on March 3rd, 2017, and got busy since, I mean, what else was there at launch? Bomberman, Just Dance, 1-2 switch, get your ass. Now, the sheer freedom of this game is astounding. You can go anywhere, do anything, and progress through the game at your own pace. If you're good enough, or clinically insane, you can go straight to Ganon with 3 hearts and beat his ass with a twig with no help. Personally, on my first playthrough though, I helped the Zora and the Gorons, nabbed myself the Master Sword, let the birds and the women suffer, and I beat Ganon. I thought to myself, my god, I just beat a Zelda game. Then had sympathy for the birds and women, helped them out, and went back to fight Ganon again, thinking I could have skipped the a freaking third of this freaking fight. Are you kidding? The shrines are also a highlight of the game for me. They're like little mini puzzles you could just wander upon for some more gameplay. There's just so much here. Like, it's hard to mention it all. You can literally eat bokoblin balls and waste hours of your life finding 900 Koroks for a literal golden piece of shit. That's it. I wouldn't be caught dead doing that myself, but I'd gladly return to the world of Breath of the Wild for a spell whenever the sequel comes into existence. I won't believe it till I see it at this point. We ain't getting a direct till like 2025.
8. 8?
Staying in 2017, it's summer and I'm spending some time at my grandmother's house. Me, my dad, and my cousin had a hankering for some ice cream. Any of you guys have like a Culver's near you, the fast food place? They have some of the best burgers and milkshakes ever. Not sponsored. So out we went to get some kick-ass milkshakes. Oh, and Splatoon 2, I guess. Now, the first Splatoon has some memories around that as well, but if you're curious about that for some goddamn reason, go check out the Tropical Freeze video. Splatoon was such a breath of fresh air from the norm, and gave Nintendo fans such a unique shooter, even more so than Fortnite.
That doesn't exist, goddammit!
Yeah, that says a lot, doesn't it? I sank hours into the first Splatoon, and even more into the sequel. The multiplayer, as it has been since the beginning of the franchise, is so smooth and addictive, as is just pure eye candy. So many great new weapons like the dually class, though you already know, the roller's where it's at. So many awesome stages and such good piss gurgling. And the campaign is really fun as well, even though it's far from the main purpose of the game. It's still a solid experience. And one of the modes I never played when it first came out was Salmon Run, because my dumbass thought you could only play it with friends via local multiplayer for some reason. That doesn't mean I don't have friends. I have plenty of friends, billions, but when I discovered you can play with people online last year, I played nothing but Salmon Run for like a week straight. It's definitely my favorite part of the game. I love multiplayer games like this, especially when there's so much to do, and hopefully Splatoon 3 is even better. I guess we'll find out in a few short months. Oh yeah, and Octo Expansion was alright. It was way too hard for me. Thankfully, every level had a skip button. I love spending $20 to let my Switch beat levels for me.
Number 7? Hell, he died of infection.
Skip forward in time to 2020 when the planet went to shit. Everybody was affected by the pandemic in different ways. I remember my last day of school before we were all sent home for what they said would be only 2 weeks. And 2 weeks became 3. 3 turned into 4. Weeks turned into months. And like that, there went my second semester of junior year. It had its ups and downs, but at least Switch owners like myself had Animal Crossing New Horizons to keep us company. Like Zelda, I had tried Animal Crossing in the past, but New Leaf didn't feel that inviting to me, so I didn't go back to it after a week of owning the game. And then there was the whole Amiibo Festival fiasco, which should have just been a tabletop board game to get people off Nintendo's ass about its existence. But hey, I was bored, stuck inside, with literally nothing better to do. I already read through every Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. So, I tried out New Horizons and didn't put it down for 5 months. Everybody had Animal Crossing. It was the perfect game to play with friends since, we could have fucking died if we went outside. Or at least that's how it felt at the time. I had some great times in the game. I don't have the most jaw-dropping island, but Madagascar is my digital getaway through and through. I loved making all my different real-life outfits in the game with the custom design maker, and I made myself cry of laughter making the chef and open season posters at the town hall. And dude, I was addicted to filling up that damn museum. I'm pretty sure I have all the fossils and most of the fish and bugs, but since the creatures were seasonal and I'm no time traveler, it made catching that first sturgeon so friggin' sweet and satisfying. Though I was sure more of a casual islander, I still thoroughly enjoyed the shortish time I played it, and hope I'm able to get into the next game as much as I did this one.
We'll work up a number 6 on him.
In 2018, I brought my Switch to school every single day. In classes where I had nothing to do, shit, you already know I was playing that thing. But at lunch, it was magical. A whole half hour with a table full of dudes playing shit. Our favorite was Mario Tennis for a while, but when the lunch table needed a hero, Masahiro Sakurai delivered. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate took the cafeteria by storm. We went crazy in that game. Everybody was already looking forward to it. It was announced in March, and to everybody's surprise, it wasn't a Splatoon movie. Then, in June, we got that long-ass presentation for E3. Me and Ethan watched it together in the early stages of Nick's Game Room and popped off when we found out everybody was coming back, along with Daisy and Ridley, which is one more Daisy than Mario Strikers Battle League will ever have. Then we got King K motherfucking Rule and Simon fucking Belmont and Crom fucking last name all at the same time, and we weren't even halfway done. Like 2 seconds before it released, they announced Piranha Plant and Incineroar Ken, and that there was going to be DLC. I didn't even know who Joker was back then, but Jameson flipped his shit, so I did as well. One thing led to another, and we got this. And Sans! Holy shit, no joke. No freaking joke. I popped off harder for the Sans Me costume than anything else in my entire life. Imagine me beating Chef in Cuphead and multiply it by 6. Oh yeah, it was that nuts. For me, the best part of the Ultimate Adventure was awaiting the next character announcement. Sure, there were some stinkers, but when they were good, they were astounding. Like, Steve literally broke the internet. The gameplay is amazing too. Like, recently me, Ethan, Jaden, and Noah played Brawl with mods, and sure, Toadette and Silver were playable characters, but the game was so friggin' slow and clunky because we were just so used to Ultimate's amazing control. And Jesus, there's so much content. It may not have been Subspace Emissary, but World of Light was still insanely epic. As great as the gameplay was, the best part for me was the internet coming together to express their hype for Banjo-Kazooie and their absolute hatred for Byleth. I guarantee you, somebody offed themselves when they revealed Byleth. Maybe if I enjoyed the game itself as much as the presentations, this game would have broken the top 3, but I still am extremely appreciative for this culmination of memories, reacting and playing with my friends. This game really is something special. Okay, what's the most batshit crazy idea you've ever had? Have you ever, like, jumped off a cliff? Or have you ever cursed out a famous food critic, got fired, and then bought a food truck from your ex-wife's ex-husband? Have you ever walked 15 miles through the snow just to get to school on time? Well, apparently, Miyamoto had one of these moments when he went to Ubisoft and strapped Mario and the Rabbids with f***ing guns. But like Jon Favreau, this idea works wonders. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle released in August 2017, and when it was announced, it was a massive surprise. It seemed like it didn't seem real. It seemed like a joke. It seemed like a big friggin' joke. Like, who thought of this? But somehow, the crazy bastards made a super unique tactical RPG pairing the biggest video game characters ever and the screaming cosplaying Tic Tacs. Who'd have thought? The two universes collide, and Bowser Jr. seizes the opportunity to use the source of the conversion to wreak havoc across the kingdom. With 8 characters to choose from, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, and their Rabbid counterparts, you build a team of 3 to upgrade and power up. Each character has their own specific weapons and skill trees, and the gameplay itself, from battling enemies to solving puzzles, really tests your brain. This game can be brutal. Like, literally, I got to the final boss in class in 2018 and couldn't figure it out till 2021. Super Dragon Bowser, whatever the hell his name is just nuts. And even when you eventually beat him, you have a whole other story to play through with the Donkey Kong DLC. This game just keeps on giving. Like, whoever thought that they would see a Rabbid dressed as Cranky Kong in a real video game that was really made that exists? Seriously, if you haven't tried this gem, pick it up as soon as you can. It's always on sale on the eShop for dirt cheap, especially before Sparks of Hope drops in October, which looks like it's going to be even better. Bowser with a cannon, Rabbid Cloud, oh, I'm so ready.
The answer you were looking for is 4.
One of the most recent Switch releases is also one of the best games on the thing, featuring another classic Nintendo character packing heat. Just not as often. Kirby in the Forgotten Land brought Kirby into the 3rd dimension for the first real time, and he feels right at home in this format. Don't get me wrong, the 2D adventures are great as well. Planet Robobot is one of the best games on the 3DS, and even I have a bit of a soft spot for Star Allies, but Forgotten Land feels like the most ambitious Kirby game yet, with worlds that you can explore every inch of, an entire race of Waddle Dees to free from captivity, towering bosses that can bring one hell of a challenge if you go for 100% completion, and DDD's new theme, which goes hard as hell. Aside from the 3D platforming, the main gimmick of this game is such a fun idea. Kirby can literally become a car, it's so funny looking. The copy abilities are also extremely cool in this. As I said before, Gun Kirby is surely a sight to behold, especially when it's fully upgraded into a literal space ranger. Every ability can be upgraded as well, making Kirby stronger as the game gets harder. He can become a dragon, a buzzsaw, Morpho Knight, a literal time machine, the list goes on and on. It's also fun to see how your new town can flourish as you save more and more Waddle Dees. You unlock minigames like fishing, cooking, and a bunch of other simple mundane tasks, and this really stupid, dumb piece of garbage ball puzzle that pissed me right off. Regardless, this is such a great game for both Kirby veterans as well as those who want to explore his world for the first time. And what better place to start than what I see as the best Kirby game to date. It's also one of the most popular videos right now on my channel, so that's pretty cool too. Maybe I should play more Kirby.
Number 3.
This pick is for sure going to be the most controversial pick for this list, but who cares? So what if I enjoyed Pokemon Legends Arceus more than Breath of the Wild? I'm a Pokemon trainer at heart and always will be, so Legends Arceus was a jaw-dropping game for longtime fans like me, especially since there aren't many other great Pokemon games on the Switch at this time. Not bad, just not great. Here's hoping for Scarlet and Violet, Quaxley Gang. Set in a time where catching Pokemon wasn't basic necessity, you go out into the open world of Hisui to document the earliest Pokédex in history. Now, of course, since everybody calmed their tits about the lack of a national dex, hopefully, it makes those designated 400 or 500 Pokemon seem even more special to be a part of what is said to be the first ever Pokédex, along with new regional forms and evolutions. Whenever I play a Pokemon game for the first time, I like to have a team of all the new guys, and whenever there has been regional forms, you know, it's always great to include some old favorites, especially in a game where there's like 20 of them like this. Now, I could care less about the game's meta, like what typings are best and what moves do the most damage. I just try to have a decently balanced team of kick-ass Pokemon. For those of you who have seen my mid-video of the game, Finbar the Samurott is my personal pick for starters. Rowlet is such a piece of garbage, screw you. But how could I possibly forget about Afton the Sneasler? Weavile was one of my boys all the way back in Pokemon X, so you already know I needed to have the new one. Blair Witch the Zoroark is also a contender for my most badass name for a Pokemon ever, and Dagger the Arcanine, Jaws the Electrode, and Drip Drop the Goodra were awesome too. And shiny hunting is so fun in this, I've caught like 20 so far. I've even caught a shiny Finbar, appropriately named Finbedazzle. Honestly, I don't remember much about the story because of how insanely fun the gameplay is. It's so addictive, so please, go buy this as soon as possible so Game Freak wises up and makes a sequel. I'll even take like Pokemon Legends Heatran at this point.
Who does number 2 work for?
These last two games were a real toss-up. I honestly had no idea which I preferred over the other. I see them both as damn near perfect. The only problem I have with them is that they're not long enough. But eventually I came to a conclusion, and I have never been on an adventure that made me feel so powerful than Metroid Dread. This was another franchise first for me. I tried the original on the NES, but I didn't like it much, and when they brought Super Metroid to the Switch's online service, I got lost like way too easy and never played it for over an hour. I remember when Dread was announced though. I knew it was a big deal, but not exactly how big of the deal it was. Apparently it had been in development purgatory for over a decade, and thank God the developers were finally able to see their vision come true after so long. It must feel so good. During Christmas of 2021, I got sick with the C-word Jacksepticeye virus and was bedridden for weeks, remember that? Well, the day after I got sick, I was given Metroid Dread as an early Christmas gift, and that got me through my sickness. Such responsive controls and great upgrades like the Speed Boost one and the Explosion one and the Freezy one. The bosses ranged from smaller and speedier to massive and insanely powerful, but each one was more menacing than the last, especially the two speedy sword guys. I was stuck on them for a while. Oh yeah, this is also a horror game for some reason. The enemies are so damn scary, especially since their strengths and weaknesses change from model to model depending on where you're at in the story. And man, that final boss. I remember after countless tries, I had the bright idea of hunting down every last energy tank and missile in the entire game, then went back, whooped his ass as Ultra Instinct Samus, and it was so epic. This game is a masterpiece, and is another I would adore replaying someday. But there's still one more game that is even better, and you all probably already know what it is, so let's just get it over with. Super Mario Odyssey, duh. As soon as you dudes heard me put Zelda at 9, you already knew what number 1 was. What's to be said that hasn't been said before by everybody else? This game is truly perfect. I mean, for real, name one thing that's wrong with it. This is easily the best Mario game. Hell, it might even be the best Nintendo game in general. It's just so damn fun and packed to the brim with shit to do. Bowser's really going extra rapey mode in this one, starting up with him kicking Mario's ass to the curb and abducting Peach in preparation for a wedding. Mario gains possession of a hat with the power of possession that can possess a bunch of objects, enemies, and friends that Mario needs to possess to be able to save the princess from Bowser's possession. Say that 5 times fast. Traveling around the world is so fun. Seeing all the memorable citizens and interactables and every moon is so satisfying to collect, regardless if it's in the tallest tower or just sitting out in the open. Speaking of collectibles, I thought the addition of purple coins was neat to buy regional outfits and knickknacks. There are so many weird outfits too, like Dead Mario, Diddy Kong, and oh my god, the bosses were awesome. Remember when Mario had to fight a dragon straight out of Game of Thrones? And the final run out of the moon as Bowser was such a satisfying moment. Everyone knew possessing Bowser was coming, but it was still so cool slashing at rocks with Peach riding on your back. Oh, so cool. You can't get much better than that. I remember how difficult the darker side of the moon was too. I can't exactly remember where I was when I finished it, but I do remember taking on the challenge at school a bunch and holding back the rage. It was a pain, it hurt me emotionally, but god damn was it satisfying reaching the top with that emotional last few words from Cappy. It's been an honor walking a mile on your head. And it's truly been an honor to spend not only my high school years with the Nintendo Switch, but the first few years of my adulthood, too. I met so many people because of the Nintendo Switch. Hell, there'd be no Nick's Game Room or Don't Steal This without it, probably. The little thing is still going strong, selling better and better all the time, with plenty of new games releasing all the time, and some really good ones coming soon. It'll be really fun to see how this list changes during the rest of the Switch's lifespan. Thank you, Nintendo, for changing my life, and I'm sure a bunch of other people's lives, with your glorified iPad. And thank you so much for watching the newest episode of Nick's Game Room, and I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it. And I'll get back to you when Bayonetta dethrones Mario come October for the best game ever. Let's freaking get it. Bayonetta, Game of the Year. Bayonetta 3, Game of the Year.